Welcome to Opinion Havers, a movie podcast for Lutherans. I'm Cody.
And I'm Luther.
Yeah. Yeah. Tyler, what did we watch?
We watched Catch Me If You Can, Cody. Cody's not part of this. The movie's Catch Me If You Can.
Catch Me If You Can. And I'm Cody.
Your name's Cody.
You got to pause there. There's a comma, end quotation. Cody. I'm Cody.
Unless one of the FBI agents' name was Cody, then I guess you could say the name.
I'm actually thinking of rebooting this movie. It's been 18 years. Yeah, it's enough time, you know? Let's do a reboot, and it'll be called Catch Me If You Can, Cody. Same movie, but the guy's name would be Cody.
Yeah.
Instead.
Yeah.
I don't know. Tyler, I don't know.
What? Tell me.
I made a mistake.
What's your mistake?
Picking this movie, I was like, I think it was a mistake. It wasn't a bad movie.
Well, see, here's the thing, Cody.
What?
What they don't understand, but what you very clearly understand is I proposed to you like a whole thing.
Yeah.
Where I said to you in this, I said, pick a Cody's Corner movie.
Yeah.
And this is what you came back with, which blew my mind. You came back with this.
There's a lot of politics that came to this decision. First thing that happened was I noticed this movie on Netflix, and I was like, I remember that came out when I was a kid, and I remember watching most of it and enjoying it. I wonder if it still holds up. I want to watch it. Bailey was like, I want to watch it too. I wanted to watch an official Cody's Corner movie, but I wanted Bailey to see it, and she didn't want to watch the movie with us. And so I was like, well, we can't watch that one. And then all the other movies, and some of them were like, I just wasn't in the mood for it. They were too intense. They were too long, and we were running out of time. And I was just like, so we settled for it. And I don't know, maybe it was a mistake.
So are you saying this isn't a Cody's Corner movie?
No. Having seen it, no, not really. I do think it was a good movie. It just wasn't was it the caliber that a movie needs to be in Cody's Corner? I say nay. How'd it go for you?
I like this movie a lot. I've watched it many, many, many times.
So that should have been a Tyler's Corner.
No, because the whole thing is I proposed to you a new show called Tyler's Trash. And
right.
Cody, I think you're underestimating the trash of the movies. It's not like we're not going bad. Unless, one day maybe we do Ultimate Panda Warrior. It's on HBO Max, Cody. That's all I'm saying.
HBO of all the platforms, HBO Max, where you can watch Warner Brothers' latest studio releases, and also Ultimate Panda Warrior.
Yeah,
your favorite ripoffs of DreamWorks animated movies.
It's got Rob Schneider. What more do you need?
So I'm glad you enjoyed it. I didn't it is a good movie. I enjoyed it. It didn't scratch the itch I needed at this time, Yeah.
So do you want to sum up the movie, or do you want me to sum it up?
I'll sum it up. So Catch Me If You Can is based on a true story of a real life con man named Frank Abagnale, who was a con of he did all kinds of cons. He was very good at financial bank fraud and just being an overall con man. And Tom Hanks tries to catch him. That's it.
Yep.
That's it.
There you go. I can't remember the time limit I was supposed to set, but I didn't look at the clock before I set that anyway.
I nailed it. I'll tell you that right now.
100% perfect. Anybody says different, they don't know what they're talking about.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's a real story.
Yeah.
A real guy,
crazy.
So
yeah.
Are we going to, do you want to just...
We might as well.
Just jump in this hot seat with me and let's share it. Let's share this hot seat.
Uh-huh.
That's what it's called, right? The hot jump seat, whatever it was called in the plane.
You're deadhead. You're my deadhead is what they asked him. Are you the deadhead?
Yeah, deadhead. There we go.
But I don't know what the seat is called. It's like a jump seat or...
Yeah. It's a tiny little seat that's...
like when you have those trucks where it's like, it just has two seats, but then, it does have a little extra space behind the seats. And there's a little flap. It's like if they're... the plastic tray you get at a fast food restaurant?
Yeah.
That just kind of flips down from the wall and you sit on that.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
So let's share one of those.
Okay.
Let's fly it to Spoiler Town, USA.
It is a good movie. It just isn't...
Is that the spoiler?
No.
The lead was.
It is a good movie. I just don't think it's a. I don't know. Spielberg. This is a Steven Spielberg, Tom Hanks, Leonardo DiCaprio film. But it's PG-13. It's got a lot of fun in it because it's like a glitzy, fun con man thing. It gets a little pretty serious at times, but it's not like R-rated, Oscar bait serious. And I don't know. Here's the thing about Steven Spielberg. I've seen some of his older movies now, and I'm like, I get it. I get why he's the guy he is. But then he also has movies like this, where like this is just like a good family kind of, not quite a family picture, but it's like it's a PG-13 kind of movie. Everybody's gonna see it because it's got Leo and Tom Hanks and Steven Spielberg, and it's good.
Yeah,
and it was good, but it wasn't Band of Brothers. No, what's the other? He does work on that. He produces it. What's the one he directed? Saving Private Ryan or Jaws, or I don't know. I don't know how to feel about Steven Spielberg.
Yeah. But I mean, like, I think with Steven Spielberg, there is, like, his floor as far as the lowest quality movies he makes are, if he's a director, are better than most directors' best movies they've ever made.
Yeah, that's
I mean?
true. That's true. I guess it's one of those things, he's such a big budget name now that maybe that's the thing. It's like, you're not going to get that indie flair that makes it a Cody Corner movie. It's not going to get that it's an up-and-coming director, or it's a low-budget movie, or it's a hidden gem, It's not going to be any of those things because it's Steven Spielberg and Tom Hanks and Leonardo DiCaprio, and they're going to have plenty of budget, and it's going to be good.
Yeah.
It just isn't hipster enough, I guess, is what we're getting at.
That's what you're getting at. I liked it.
It is good.
Yeah. I remember back when I first saw this movie, right? I was like fascinated with this guy, that he was a real person.
Yeah.
And I swear, there was a time, I think I've seen this guy in person. I don't know if I went to like something he was doing or if he was just at something.
Oh, okay.
Like, I'm not saying I've met him and spoken to him. I was just saying, like, I'm pretty sure
He made some sort of an appearance somewhere, and you were like, he was signing books at Barnes & Noble, and you were like, wait, is that the guy? And then you just kept walking.
I can't put my finger on it, so maybe it was just somebody claiming to be him.
Let me spoil something for you. You have seen this man. Where have you seen him? In Catch Me If You Can.
Yeah.
At the end of the movie, spoiler alert, we're now, you can't be mad. When Leonardo DiCaprio, as Frank Abagnale, gets arrested, the French police officer that like takes him to the car, that is the real life Frank Abagnale.
Yeah.
Isn't that fun?
It's so fun.
So you've seen him.
He arrested himself.
You've seen him. Yeah, he arrested himself.
But I also watched, like, because there was a phase, probably closer to when this actually came out, where it was like a bunch of documentaries and stuff on him. Mm-hmm. I don't know why he got really popular out of seemingly nowhere. But I remember him talking about, like, him doing all this stuff, and they were like, well, how'd you do it? And he's like, if you walk in with a nice suit and a lot of confidence, you can get away with almost anything. Mm-hmm. But like talking about like how, well, there's not a lot to it. Like, it's kind of family friendly, and him talking about like at the end of the day, he was a kid that he's like I remember him talking about how he didn't quite understand the gravity of what he was doing most of the time.
Yeah, because I mean, based on what I understood from the movie, it was like he was 17 to 19 when like most of this happened.
Yeah,
that's how old he was.
Yeah, he got caught before he turned 19, I think, and then
he spent like a year or two in France in prison, and that's when he came to the U.S. and that's when he started.
So I mean, like, you see
FBI
towards like, was it the third quarter of the film or something? Where he calls the FBI agent and he's just like, "I just want to be done. Just stop chasing me." And like that being the kind of where he started to realize like, oh, he's like, I can't live a normal life because of what I've done.
Yeah, at some point, $4 million in, people aren't just going to let you go.
Yeah.
But. Yeah.
So I think, obviously there was stuff like him sleeping with flight attendants and stuff that he would actually do. But it's not like he would murder people or like get in these high-speed car chases, because it's like the police show up, he's just going to run out the back door and try to get away. And, he could change. Talk about that. I think that's how he get away with a lot of it too, because they're like, this guy is impersonating a doctor. Let's find the doctor. And he just changes to where now suddenly he looks 17.
Yeah.
They're like, well, you're not the doctor. You're 17.
Yeah, I did think that was interesting too. And they were like, we're looking for like a guy who's like 28, 30 years old. And he's like 18. You're like, oh, that's interesting. And I guess that was one thing too, like, because in real life, he always looked older. So like when he was a teenager, he looked like a full grown man. And so that helped him get away with it.
I liked when he came into his French class and they were like they had knocked his books out of his hand and were like messing with him. And he just pretended to be the substitute.
And then he turned away. The real substitute walks in, is like, I'm supposed to teach. He's like, sorry, I'm teaching this class. She just buys it and leaves.
Great. Which I mean, like, I've always thought, what are you gonna do? Go to the principal, just be like, hey, this other person's in there. Are they real? Because then if they are, they're just gonna be like, yeah,
get out of here.
Why are you here?
Yeah. I mean, that part of the movie fun. It starts, and the titles are pretty fun. It's got that fun John Williams music, which was nominated for an Oscar. This movie was nominated for an Oscar for its music. I thought the titles were fun. I just thought they were too long. Was it just me, or was it like a 10-minute title sequence? That I feel like.
Isn't it something that Spielberg does even now when he makes a movie? Like because nowadays it's like maybe you get a title card, and then it's happening.
Yeah.
And they're like, everything's at the end.
Yeah.
But there's a couple directors I feel like that they're like,
still do them.
You're getting all of them.
I feel like it was more fashionable during that in the 2000s to do the titles. I do think, to your point, like lately there's less and less of it.
Yeah, now it's really just the Bond movies because that opening is such a thing.
Yeah. And I was shocked by the catches because, I saw this movie. I was probably like 10 when this movie came out, and so I know I've seen it with my family. But crazy cast. Josh Brolin was in it somewhere. I saw that he was in the credits. I didn't figure out who he was.
I think I remember he's a co-pilot or something.
Oh, I think
so.
Amy Adams is in it. Jennifer Garner is in it. Everybody is in this movie. Like a lot of people that had their break, or they were like Leonardo DiCaprio. Leo's older in this one, but like they were like that in their teens still, and like about to like become like adults and break out into those kind of roles. That was interesting.
Yeah.
I was thinking too, because like Frank Abagnale he co-wrote the book for this. Like he co-wrote a book about his life, and then they turned into a movie. Yeah, that was interesting.
Did you see in your research it's also a play, or is it a musical or something?
I didn't see that.
Yeah, let me double check. If I can't remember which one it is, but I was like, if it's a musical, that seems weird. But yeah.
I don't know. Can you imagine just writing a book about yourself and being like, here's how cool I was when I was 17 years old? I mean, how much do you think, what percentage of that would be like exaggerated to make you look even cooler?
I'm sure a lot.
Yeah.
But that was something, what was it? It was in one of the, I wish I could remember, because there's a really good documentary that's got a ton of interviews with him. Mm-hmm. But I think they said once, like, don't you think, like, how much of this is real? And he's like, I mean, all of the stuff I did, I actually did all those things. It's like, I don't have to embellish it. I did.
He got arrested for those things and like convicted for them.
He's like, I walked onto a plane at 16 and said I was the pilot, and they're like, cool, you're flying the plane,
Yeah, he said like the movie's 80% accurate, and like the part that isn't too. He's also just like, well, we just kind of merged some people together just to like make the screenplay work better. So I thought, then a couple things, like he didn't really have a relationship with his dad after they left, or after a certain point, but they kept it going for the movie. Aside from like things like that, it's like, oh, all this stuff happened.
Yeah, like did you see the fact that his first con was actually basically stealing like $30,000 from his dad?
No, I didn't see that.
Like his dad gave him a truck and a gas card to get to work. Mm-hmm. And so he would buy stuff like tires and batteries and things, car things with it, and then sell them to the attendants.
Oh, wow.
To get cash. And he did it for, let me see, because I have it like right here. But it was like a few $1,000s, which is the equivalent of like $28,000 or $29,000 in today.
Wow.
I was like, so he was probably part of the reason.
He's a hustler. Yeah. His dad was bankrupt and.
Yeah. So I mean, I think they kind of made it be like, oh no, him and his dad, they love each other.
Yeah.
They're the best.
I think too, it's because they show him in prison, so like pretty soon on in the movie, like, oh, this guy's been arrested, but I don't know. Is it just me? That prison looked like straight up the Bastille or something.
Yeah.
And like, or do you see the Count of Monte Cristo, the movie Count of Monte Cristo?
Oh, yeah.
You ever watch that? It reminded me of that prison, but so it's like confusing because it's modern day, not modern day, but you know, it was shot in the 60s, 50s, 60s, 60s, 60s.
I mean, the French prison system I know is one of the ones like there's some British or not British European prisons where it's like you want to go there, and then there's some where you
like,
do not.
I think it's like Switzerland or Sweden or one of those where they're just like, all right, you can go over the holidays, just make sure you come back. And they're like, all right. It's like, all right, it's the weekend, you can go home, but make sure you come back. And they're like, all right. And then they do. Like, it's so different from how we do things here.
Yeah, it's more like a rehabilitation camp than...
Yeah, it's like, all right, it's like a boarding school, you know, where it's like, all right, you're going to come here in a week, and then you can, you know, you can leave for 3 days a month, and, you know, okay, all right, if your son's getting married, you can leave for 3 days, you have to come back. Like,
yeah.
It's crazy.
Which,
but I don't know, they showed some other cells that were, like, more modern looking, but for his cell just looked like big stone bricks and a slit that we'll slide some food through. And you even had the long hair. I was like, is this just from a Leonardo DiCaprio Count of Monte Cristo that like was never finished? Or
this is what I wonder, right? Because I've heard, so like I'll see things online, right, where they're talking about those prisons and be like, this is how American prisons should work. And then someone's like, yeah, but if they don't come back, they get sent to the other prisons that aren't nice. So it's almost prisons. Like that's the threat that keeps the nice ones working.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're just such like, they're just like throw you in a hole in the ground. They're like, well, you're going to be here for 2 years. Maybe we'll send some bread in a week or two. You know? There's some water dripping down the wall. That's your source of water. I don't know. But I mean, yeah, I wonder how accurate that was versus just like how it was supposed to be. They're like, well, he had a normal cell, but they were so embarrassed or something by it that they were just like brutally mean to him and would do all this stuff that isn't necessarily the best. And they're like, we'll just do this to kind of encompass all of that into one shot.
For sure.
And then he ran away.
Yeah, I couldn't believe he almost made an escape in prison from the guards. Pretty shifty.
Yeah. They talked about him. Did he actually escape from prison in the movie? I
don't remember.
Because I was looking through stuff that he did, like his crimes, and one of them was impersonating a prison guard and escaping prison.
Oh, wow. Sure.
And I'm like, they left that out. I also realized, have you ever heard of the show White Collar?
No.
I was like, because I love this movie, but I haven't seen it in a while. And I introduced that show to my wife because she likes the crime shows. But it's basically just this story, but set in like 2010 or 2012, right?
Uh-huh.
And they had some drama in there, but just like a con man that gets caught and then works for the FBI. But it's like the same thing where he's so good at it because he could just like walk into a room and be like, oh yeah, I own this bar. And the owner will be like, yes, you do, sir. You do own this bar. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I did enjoy that. Like, you know, you mentioned him being the French teacher, and then there's the part where he's about to get caught. Like, he's at a Tropicana hotel in Los Angeles, blah, blah, blah. Tom Hanks comes into his room to bust him, you know, and he's just like, all right, I'm here. I'm with the CIA. We've been tracking this guy, too. So there he goes. He's down there. Yeah. I'm just going to take this stuff down to evidence, and I'll be back. And then he just makes it out there. It's fun to watch him bluff through some of those situations.
Yeah.
But it's a real thing, you know?
Yeah.
If you're well-dressed places, you know, sometimes people will be like, hey, you're the manager here, right? It's like, oh, I definitely don't work here at all, but it's good to know that, you know, I could be a con man and pretend to be the manager of this place if I wanted to.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I really, just looking at the movie itself, you know, I like the dynamic that little baby Leo, sweet boy, and Tom Hanks have.
Yeah. Frank Abagnale said that Tom Hanks studied that. So in the book, Frank Abagnale didn't name the actual FBI officer because he was still living and didn't want to share those details. The guy died, so then he shared his name. He's like, yeah, Tom Hanks studied this guy to be as a basis for his character, and he's like, and he nailed it. Like,
Yeah.
Talking to him in character was just like talking to the actual FBI agent who he like worked with.
Yeah. But it's just like he's so good. Like, where he's just like kind of this bumbling guy but he always catches the people, so he's well respected in this, what do they call it, the bank fraud division? Because that's again like where I was just like, this show White Collar just ripped off this whole story. Because they're like they're in the white collar crime unit, which is like the modern day equivalent of it. But but no one believes in this particular thing. They just are like, this isn't a real issue. So they give him a guy who got sent to that division as a punishment, and another guy who's just audited like other investigations.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, okay, well, and he's like the star of this unit, and they're like, no, we're not giving you anything.
Did you ever watch McMillions? It's like an HBO documentary about the.
No, I've heard so many
McDonald's.
people talk about it.
I didn't finish. I did want to finish. I didn't finish it, but it was interesting because they talked about like, so we work in financial crimes and the FBI, which is like the least sexy division, but these people are like into it, and there's like, all right, who's running scams, who's doing bank fraud, and those are the crimes they investigate. But like the one guy was so excited about it, he's like, I want to do a sting operation, I want to be undercover, and he ends up getting to do all of that while they're investigating the McDonald's monopoly scandal that was happening. So like they went undercover, pretended to be the McDonald's advertising team to like go and interview these people that won to try to link them to like the fishy thing that was going on. It's pretty funny to hear the guy like, he was so excited about it. He was like, I was preparing for my part and I was studying, like whatever, so I could be undercover. Yeah, I saw it. It's, normally undercover, you're like, all right, we're pretending to be drug dealers and we're going to do a deal with this other guy. And it's like, no, like, you're going to be a McDonald's advertising commercial director. And you're going to go interview this random guy who won $1 million by playing Monopoly at McDonald's. Anyway, it's just like, it's high stakes because they're FBI and they don't want to get caught. But it's also like, this is so low stakes. So like, you're pretending to shoot a commercial. What's going to happen to you? Like, so we get to see Leonardo DiCaprio as a youth. He's a teenager, right? He pretends to be the French teacher. His dad's Christopher Walken. His mom is a French lady.
I'll excuse you, sir.
Yeah.
She is a French hooer. All right. She came out there dancing for all the soldiers.
Oh, right. I forgot. But then she also cheats on Christopher Walken. How could you? How could you do that to him?
Talking about the man who personified King Louis. They made...
Oh, yeah, right. The live action.
Yeah.
So, anyway, they're in the house, and he's making... Leonardo DiCaprio is making pancakes. And, you pour the pancake, you wait for the bubbles, then you flip, right? We all know. He pours the pancakes. He's talking to his dad, hugs his dad. The pancakes are flipped.
Yeah.
Did you notice that?
Yeah.
It was driving me crazy. I was like, nobody flipped those pancakes.
Did you notice him
Steven Spielberg is a liar.
Did you notice him pour a pancake? It cut away, and it cut back, and he was like walked over to pour another pancake. Like one of the pancakes had magically disappeared.
Come on.
The stack was like 6 pancakes higher.
Gotta get it. I think it's one of those things, like if you've ever made a movie or a short film or anything, you're so much more tuned into those kind of details because you're like always looking for them, where it's like, oh, is there continuity in these shots? It drives me crazy whenever I notice it.
Yeah.
Okay, Steven Spielberg, it's like, do you even know how to make pancakes? Probably not. And then, he's Leonardo DiCaprio, is young Frank Abagnale, he's at school, gets bullied.
Yeah.
The bully walks away. And then his like sidekick shakes his hand, and I just never been so confused.
Because they like went to go do the man, like
yeah, waiting for the high five to happen, or the chest bump, or the headbutt, and it's just a well-mannered handshake. I was like, who?
So this is my question. Okay, was it supposed to be the like a little hand, like the the little hand slidey slap thing that you do sometimes? That existed at the time. Was that supposed to be it? And the other guy just panicked and went for a handshake?
I don't know what
and they were
on
like,
earth happened.
They were like, forget it. Just leave it in.
I want to understand, but I do not.
Yeah. Because the whole thing about that situation is supposed to be like his dad was like a fancy pen salesman. So he's like part of the Rotary Club, and they were wealthy
yeah.
and all that. And then he has some trouble with the IRS, which they eventually lose everything, right? And they go from this big house to this tiny little apartment and
Yeah.
all that. Here's the question, Cody. Ask me the question. Ask me the question you want to know the answer to. Who buys these pens?
Who buys these pens?
I'll tell you, my cousin buys these pens. Okay. No, Disney World has pens.
Okay.
There is an enormous community, maybe not enormous, way bigger than I ever thought it would be, of people who buy, sell, and trade Disney World and Disneyland pens. They have a new one, I guess, every year or for every ride.
Like
or
a
for every
fancy,
park.
like a super fancy pen.
Like the kind he has them mounted in shadow boxes on the wall of his office.
Have you ever shopped the pen aisle at Office Max or Staples or any of those stores?
Every time. That's
It's
my other
surprising.
question. I buy fancy pens.
Here's the thing. I spent time as a missionary doing all my planning, organizing, agendaing on paper.
Yeah.
And so I understand a good pen. I am a zebra pen man, all right? F301 is what I use, but I've used the 701 or whatever, the higher model. For me, it's just I need something that writes well. I like that it's metal. It's not too heavy. You can get the 701 is heavier for zebra pens. And, you know, this pen is like $3. The F701 is like $7. And that's as much as I spend on my pens. I bought a $30 pen as a gift once, and I think that person really appreciated it. And it's different when you get the more expensive pens, writing them, you know? But for me, I spend $3 on a pen. I wouldn't spend more than $10 a pen. And I get when I know I like the way it writes. I can refill it. So what are you about to show me? What are you ruffling?
I'm looking at. I'm trying to remember. So Cody, let me tell you. You saying you appreciate a good pen?
Yeah.
And I'm saying you're lying. Yeah, here I appreciate a good pen. Zebra pens. No, they're garbage.
No, they're not.
You gotta get yourself one of these.
What do you have?
This is a Pentel. Now hear me out. Energel liquid gel ink. Needle tip.
Don't tell me you're a gel pen boy.
0.3 millimeters.
There's nothing wrong with the gel pen. I don't like gel pen. I want a ball point, okay?
Look at this needle tip.
All right, take a look at mine. All right.
Yeah, this is the kind of pen my mom has.
I like the needle tip. I'm just going to write something. Needle tips suck. This is a good pen. You're right.
Yeah.
This is a good pen. Here's my only problem with it. I like the metal pens.
That's not bad. Though I've gotten
This
the metal
one
ones.
isn't. It does write great, and that's the most important thing. Did you write with that, or what? You just saw that it was the same as your mom, and you're done?
Those are the ones that when I was a burgeoning pen
enthusiast?
addict.
Pen addict.
Then I would steal those from my mom. Then I briefly spent time, where I would buy these pens. I can't honestly even remember what kind they were. I know they were $30 a pop, and it really hurt at the time when I was in high school, and I only used those.
Yeah.
So when I needed a new one, it was a pain.
Oh, yeah.
And then one day I went into the Mont Blanc store, and then I looked around. I was looking at pens. I saw a $200 pen, and I thought about it for more than 2 seconds, and I was like, this has to stop.
How much?
It was $200. So it was a cheap Mont Blanc.
Oh, my gosh.
Which I own a Mont Blanc. But it was bought over in China where the exact same pen is 35 cents.
Are you strictly a gel pen boy?
No, I just like these particular ones.
It's the Pentel.
If I was just to pick a random pen, I would go with the... See, I was using the Uniball ones that just... Use the pens that have the caps, not the clickies, usually.
Oh, yeah.
Oh. And I'd be like,
So what do you spend your average, everyday, good pen, all reliable, what are you spending on that?
7.
7. Yeah.
It's probably my, if it's a $7 pen, I'm going to trust that it's a good pen.
Yeah. See, this, I do like the $7 version of this pen that I have. It's just bigger. And this one, I can slide this into, spiral bound notebooks and stuff like that. It's just, I'm sold. And I get grumpy when I can't find them or the refills used to be easy to find. Now they're not as easy to find. It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
These are the only kind of pens that I've actually, used all the ink on and had to refill. That's when you know it's a pen you like.
Yeah.
When you run out of ink on it. And have you noticed, what is it about 90% of pens being made in Japan and the other 10% France. Have you noticed that? Like,
Yeah.
Pentel's a Japanese company, Zebra's a Japanese company, Bic is French.
Mm-hmm.
What is that?
It's the
Why
precision.
do they got the market cornered? Why aren't there German pens?
There are. Because I was about to say, I had one that was made in Germany, and that was
Or is
my
it just
favorite
the
pen.
higher end pens that are
Yeah.
made in Germany?
Yeah.
Interesting. So anyway, the mom makes sandwiches for the neighbors when she sleeps with them in the movie, and she was like, the guy's like, thanks for the sandwich. Oh, as he's leaving, I don't know. I was just,
And then she offers her son a sandwich.
I know, so making sandwiches for everybody on the block, and it's just own up to it. If you're smushing with the neighbor guy behind the back of the husband and the son walks into the house, don't pretend like nothing happened, just be like, I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't know. Right? It's disrespectful to Leonardo, to the Academy, to Americans.
Yeah. But not to French.
Not to,
The French are the worst.
They're very sexually liberated people.
Yeah.
Also, they eat better pastries, more refined pastry palate,
What's your opinion?
Those are the two things I know about France. I've been to Quebec, so I know a thing or two.
Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of Quebec, so at the end of the movie, he's in France, and he's next to the church, and he's printing off way too many fake checks, and he gets arrested there.
Yeah.
Fun fact. No, that is not in France, as you may have thought. It's in Quebec City, in the province of Quebec, in Canada. Fun fact, I've been there. I realized I've walked right by that church, because I've been to Quebec, and I toured Quebec City, and I walked the streets, and I walked right by that building.
Here's what I'm learning then.
What?
That Quebec City is not a very modern looking city, if that's anywhere.
It's super old looking. Like 80% of the city is just like super old looking cobblestone streets. Like, yeah, it's retro, super retro French Canadian architecture. Super passes for France in most areas. Isn't that fun?
Yeah, I mean, it's weird. Because, I mean, like...
Oh, if anything is shot in France, I've learned it's half the time it's shot in Quebec.
Well, yeah, I know Canada's super, it's a good place to film a movie.
Yeah.
If you're doing, like, lower budget or you need, like, a wilderness
Yeah,
or, like,
you see
older
Toronto
stuff.
and Vancouver on stuff all the time.
Yeah.
On, like, the credits of a movie.
I know, was it British Columbia?
It's like Vancouver, it's like, oh, you want to shoot, Oregon or Washington? They're going to shoot it in Vancouver half the time.
Yeah.
And if it's New York, a third of the time they're going to Toronto. And if it's supposed to be France, then they go to Quebec.
Yeah. I've been to Toronto. It is very similar to New York. I've been in both.
According to 30 Rock, Steve Martin says it's just like New York, but without all the stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Here's what I learned. When we went to Toronto, there's two things I noticed. One, the speed limit signs are not in miles per hour, and that took me a while to figure out. That took me several speed limit signs to figure that out.
Oh, yeah.
'Cause I was like, oh, everybody's going real fast in Canada. Secondly, it really just looks like, because like, there's cities like New York that just sprawl forever, and it's like you can't tell when New York stops and the next big city starts, and it's
Sure,
just
yeah.
miles. Like Los Angeles, New York, and then there's Kansas City, which like just sprawls forever. But it's not big really anywhere except for the very center.
Yeah.
Toronto, I feel like Toronto is like, it's here, and there's tall buildings, and then there's a little bit, and then there's nothing, and then it just stops. Like, I've never seen like such a hard break in a city than when I went there and we drove from the airport into Toronto. Mm-hmm. It's like when you see people driving into the Vegas Strip, and it's like, oh, desert Vegas Strip.
Oh, yeah, except it's Toronto.
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't know that.
I'm like, I don't know. There's a decent chance a lot of that's developed now since I was there.
Sure.
But it was just nothing.
Why not?
And I was like, this is strange.
Yeah. She also gives him some money. So like he's trying to process the news that his mom is cheating on his dad. And then she's like, here, take some money. Like nobody pays hush money like mom,
Yeah. Here's $5. You know what? No, here's $10.
$10.
You want a sandwich? No, that's too much. It's too much payoff right there.
No.
That's illegal.
Oh, speaking of people who are in this movie, Elizabeth Banks is in this movie. She flirts with Leonardo DiCaprio. I tell you what, I saw Elizabeth Banks and I was like, Leonardo DiCaprio, you better not hurt her. She's precious. And she was just in that scene, so I was like, cool.
Yeah.
Amy Adams, I like Amy Adams, but her character, no poker face, you know? She couldn't handle the heat.
Yeah.
Didn't
And then
appreciate
she
that.
betrayed Frank.
Betrayed him. And I mean, I don't know. I guess if she was like young and impressionable and her parents were, her dad's a lawyer, I guess. So he is, you know, I guess, whatever. But, you know, you shouldn't
Yeah. Here we go. Let's,
stand by your man.
let's dive down this rabbit hole, all right?
All right.
Join hands with me and let's jump down to this pit of abyss, okay?
Please.
Let's point out the fact, okay, let's walk through this events. Abagnale boy, right? Meets, what's her face?
Amy Adams.
Amy Adams with braces.
Yeah.
They eventually, after she gets her braces off, have sex.
Sexual congress.
She cries. He thinks it's because she's like, I don't know what I'm doing. She's like, nope. It's because I had an abortion. And then he's like, oh, you know. And then she tells the whole story. She got kicked out. She got pregnant. Parents are like, you're not having a baby. They pay for it. Or they don't pay for it. She says they had one of her daddy's friends do it.
Who's like
which
a
I'm like,
dentist or something?
is he? They never specify what he is.
Okay.
So I'm like, is this man a doctor? Is he a farmer?
Is he a pen salesman?
A guy? Like, there's a lot of ways this could go. And then he's like, what if you're engaged to a doctor? Will they let you come back? Because then they kick her out. After they make her have an abortion, they say, you are not allowed around here anymore.
Of course.
And then he's like, I'll save you. Me as a fake doctor, I'll get engaged to you.
Yeah.
Then they go back, and then there's a scene where he sees the dad and the mom like swaying, like dancing while they're doing dishes, and he's like, "Oh, this is a cute couple." And I'm like, "No, these are bad people. They forced their daughter.
They disowned their daughter after making her get an abortion."
Yeah, and they told her after she repeatedly was like, "Can I come home yet?" We're like, "No, I don't. These are bad people.
Yeah.
They're terrible people."
And I mean, okay. Side note to that. While we're in this rabbit hole, what's his name? Martin Sheen? That's the dad's name, right? The actor's name, Martin Sheen.
I think so. I'll double check.
There's Michael Sheen. There's Martin Sheen. There's
Martin
Charlie
Short.
Sheen,
Oh.
Martin Short, and finally Emilio Estevez.
Yeah.
Emilio Estevez is the son of Martin Sheen. Michael Sheen is the son of Martin Sheen, right? Am I doing it right?
Martin Sheen.
Charlie
yes.
Sheen. No, Charlie Sheen is the son of Martin Sheen.
Yes.
And then Michael Sheen is the British version of those because he's not related because he's British.
Yes. But we've
Anyway.
established that doesn't mean anything with the Nolan brothers.
Oh, that's true. And apparently, have you heard the whole drama with Alec Baldwin's wife, Hilaria Baldwin?
No.
Okay.
Tell me.
While we're in the middle of this side now, let me just branch us off into this. This is a whole thing. It's been a thing. I don't know what the resolution was. Her name was Hilaria Baldwin. Not like it's hilarious, but like Hilaria. Like she's Spanish and her name is Hillary. Got it?
Got it.
You're staying with me? According to sources, once again, I don't know the resolution. I just know the drama of it. She was born in New York to rich parents who, after she grew up, spent some time in Spain. At which point, they're not Spanish, by the way. They're just white people from the States that moved to Spain and lived in Spain for a while. Anyway, now she goes by Hilaria. She has a Spanish accent. Her kids have Spanish names, and she speaks with a Spanish accent. So everyone's like, something's wrong. Something's not adding up. She's also like a yoga instructor and stuff and like influencer. So it's like, is she just being more ethnic, you know, to be more appealing as like a yoga guru? Anyway, I don't know what the result was. I just know it's amazing. So, my original question,
Yeah.
Martin Sheen.
Yes.
What happened to his teeth? That is some next level acting. His teeth were wrong. They weren't with the way they normally are. I know this because I've seen a whole season of West Wing, so I know what his mouth normally looks like. So, was he acting? Was he wearing a mouth thing to make his teeth look different and be more of a Louisian?
Louis boy.
Louis boy? Are you familiar with Martin Sheen's mouth? Can you speak to this?
I'm not familiar with it. All I've seen is a lot of pictures that There is definitely more than one picture in his IMDb spool that is Charlie Sheen.
Well, that
But
checks
like
out.
in like a movie similar to like it's Charlie Sheen in a movie where he's all dressed up like he's in Vietnam, and
Like
he
Platoon?
looks like Platoon.
Is he in Platoon or Apocalypse Now? Which one's he? I think it's Platoon.
What?
Or is he in Apocalypse Now? Or is he in both? He can't be in both.
I'm pretty sure he's in Hot Shots.
Stop.
But I mean, like, it's like Martin Sheen, and then you scroll the next one, and it's like, looks like the same movie, but that's definitely Charlie Sheen. That's all I got. His mouth is closed in every single picture.
Well, here's what I know. Charlie Sheen is in Hot Shots. What? He's in? Isn't he in Platoon? Or is it Apocalypse? Okay, we're going way back.
Martin Sheen teeth. He's
in
definitely
Red
has
Dawn,
like that.
And he's in Platoon. Platoon is the movie he's in. So
Okay, tell me if I'm nailing it right now.
what? Yeah. Just a little more upper teeth. But it's when you talk. When you say something, the upper teeth just full-fledged pop out.
Yeah, they just come
But
right
not
out
even
of
the
here.
back of your, just like the front four teeth. I don't know how he does it.
Well,
Anyway.
he just kind of does it, you know?
Speaking of mouths and teeth, here's my other question. We talked about Amy Adams, her character has braces. Were those real braces? What happened there?
That's my question to you.
They looked pretty real.
Or were they just like something that got puttied onto her teeth?
Yeah, that makes more sense for them to have done. But until the braces came off, I was like, did they just hire her because she had braces? Is this like a dream of an actress where it's like, oh my goodness, I'm like a qualified actress and I have braces. They're looking for someone with braces. Anyway, I was really hoping the trivia for this movie would answer that question, and it has not.
Well, if it helps.
Okay, pause.
Yeah.
I have to bring us on another side tangent.
Okay.
You know how NFL football is the thing?
Yeah.
Well, here's what I just learned. Remember how the Bears play the Saints today, and it's a wild card game, and everyone's like, there is zero chance the Bears can do anything against the Saints. It is the third quarter, and it's 3-7. What universe is this? Where do we live? And were those real braces? Here's my question. Jennifer Garner, talk about her teeth for a second. I don't know why teeth are happening today. I don't know why this is the third actor that we're discussing teeth about in this movie, but it's happening, and I need you to embrace it and to be here with me for it.
I'm here.
Jennifer Garner. Everyone knows her from the movie Elektra and the fact that Ben Affleck did not treat her right.
Yeah.
What you may not know is something was also wrong with her teeth in this movie. She plays a famous actress / model / prostitute.
Yeah.
Sorry, sex worker. So
Wait, sorry. Let me just correct you there. Hooer.
there it is. Okay. She's in the movie. She's famous. She sees Leonardo DiCaprio. They're both in like fancy hotel rooms or apartments or something. And he's like, haven't I seen you before? She's like, don't I see you? Don't we know each other? Why don't you come in for a nightcap? Do you want to have sex? That whole thing. What?
Back to first. They were okay. This says fake dental braces.
All right. You found the answer for me.
Yeah, so it's like a mouthpiece that they kind of
Okay, that
snapped
checks
in
out.
there.
I mean, that makes more sense than her having braces.
Yeah.
For real, and then not having them in the next scene.
Yeah.
So, Jennifer Garner's teeth, she has two front teeth. And then her, like, fangs to the side of her teeth, they were a little off. So she's had to have had braces since then, right? Because I feel like I would have noticed that in any of her other movies, i.e. 13 going on 30. Also, how old was she in this? Because wasn't 13 going on 30 in, like, 2005? And wasn't this movie in 2002? And didn't she look like 16 in this movie?
She was born in 72, so she was 30.
In this movie?
Yeah.
Does it just her teeth that made her look young? Or just her being next to Leonardo DiCaprio, who was playing a 17-year-old at the time? Did you notice the teeth thing, or is it just me? Am I just on a teeth kick?
I feel like she's always got like a little bit of a buck teeth thing going on.
Not the buck teeth, though. I'm talking about the teeth next to those
The
teeth.
teeth next to the thing. Let me look at it. I'm going to search Jennifer Garner teeth.
I don't even want...
This is the fourth actor I've done this on. I know exactly what you're talking about.
That's
I
what
see
I'm
him.
saying. Her teeth look very different in modern pictures. Okay, maybe not that different. Oh, look. Top 10 celebrity cosmetic dental surgery before and after photos.
Yeah. I think definitely a big part of it is her smiling different nowadays.
Yeah, because you can... In this picture that I'm looking at, she's got more gum going on. And that kind of throws... Whereas now she's got less gum going on. I just wanted to make sure it was a thing.
Here's what's
And it
bothering
doesn't
me
look
more.
half this bad, but maybe it was just the side profile close-ups of her in the movie, because there were like 12 of them.
It definitely looks like her top jaw is much smaller in the past.
Yeah.
Narrower, if you will, like an alligator's.
Okay, so this goes back to my fun fact about Amy Adams.
Right.
Okay, I'm tying it all in.
Do it.
So they have a very fun, awkward teenage makeout session in his doctor's office where everyone thinks he's 28 years old. I learned that Steven Spielberg was like, it's got to be a sloppy kiss. Here's what I need you to envision. You're starving to death, and his face is a cheeseburger. Those are his directions. And doesn't that scene make a lot of sense now that you've heard that? She nailed it. That's the vibe she was asked for. She delivered.
He truly is the greatest director of our time.
It's funny, too, because you're like, no, this is not his second movie. This is 28 years into a well-established directing career. Anyway, it worked. I'm not saying it didn't work, because it did.
I don't know. Maybe let's go off. Cody, follow me on this other side. So recently, Tiffany and I watched the other How the Grinch Stole Christmas, right? Because, we watched the animated one, the new one.
Yeah, the Cumberbatch
one.
Yeah.
So we watched the Jim Carrey one. And the scene where he's giving, what's the dog's name? Max direction. Because who directed the movie? It's the guy. The guy?
It's one of the guys. I don't know who directed it.
Wait, hold, wait, don't even, I've got it. Oh no, I accidentally searched one too many words.
Oh no.
Okay, here we go. I got it right now. Ron Howard.
Oh yeah.
So
I know that guy.
Ron Howard. He got the hat. He's always got the hat, and he's like, his thing is, he's like, all right, here's the thing, and he like sets the scene, and he's like moving around and like doing stuff, and like does this thing a lot. You know?
Yeah.
That's what he does. Like a director chair appears out of nowhere. He's like, all right, here's what you're gonna do. Puts on the hat. And I'm just like, it was really funny.
Yeah.
It really paints a picture of this guy's psycho. The Grinch and Ron Howard.
Yeah.
But, he's a good boy. He makes movies. Are they as good as Steven Spielberg's?
Ron Howard movies? No. Ron Howard's good, too, but he's not Spielberg, right? Okay, Ron Howard's top 3 directed movies. Solo, a Star Wars story. Armageddon, probably. And I just learned How the Grinch Stole Christmas. It's not the same as Steven Spielberg.
You didn't even know.
Does Ron Howard have a Jaws? Does he have a Close Encounters of the Third Kind?
Does he need a Jaws? It says Apollo 13, so boom.
Is that the same thing as Armageddon?
Also, the Nickelodeon show Astronauts.
Here's all you need to know.
Producer.
Here's all you need to know. On his IMDb, he is known for the narrator of Arrested Development. Yeah. So, no, he is not the same caliber as Steven Spielberg.
But look at the next 3. There you go. What? He's acted in A Beautiful Mind?
A side part in A Beautiful Mind.
He's 87 acting credits.
145 producing credits. He directed Hillbilly Elegy, the people both loved, and critics absolutely hated. He directed Pavarotti. I didn't know that.
He executive produced several Curious George videos.
In the Heart of the Sea, everyone remembers that movie.
Yeah.
Rush, which actually looks pretty good. He did, he directed Frost v. Nixon, which is actually really good. Frost Nixon. All the Da Vinci Code movies. Cinderella Man. Beautiful Mind, which I just realized right now are 2 different movies. How the Grinch Stole Christmas. He, I guess, didn't do Armageddon.
Which 2 movies did you just realize?
Here's the thing. I'm not saying I didn't know they were 2 different movies. What I'm saying is I think of them as the same thing, basically, until I saw them. Cinderella Man.
Okay. About
Russell Crowe as a boxer in the 30s.
Boxer.
A Beautiful Mind, Russell Crowe as a tortured genius in the 30s. So don't come at me. Don't come at me, okay? Maybe not the 30s, but he's a mathematician. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just very different movies.
Russell Crowe, Ron Howard productions, and they were made with, 5 years within each. They're the same thing. They're almost the same runtime. They're both PG-13s, so don't come at me.
Okay, I get you. No, I get you.
So, here's the thing. Frank Abagnale goes from fake pilot to fake doctor to fake lawyer. Well, no. Technically a real lawyer because he passed the bar, right?
Correct.
You don't need a law degree. Don't you just need to pass the bar?
Correct.
And most people aren't going to pass the bar without getting a law degree?
Most
And
people,
that's where you
I
get a lot
don't
of
think you can.
connections.
Most places they'll let you take the exam without going to
Hey,
school.
Google, can you take the bar exam without doing law school?
Before you law school.
So there are states where you can just take the bar.
It's kind of like you can take. There is a bar exam for doctors, and there are states that will allow you to practice medicine. Missouri is one that will allow you to practice medicine without completing medical school if you complete the test.
It sounds a lot easier to just do the test
yeah.
than doing like
I think
2 years of classwork and
I think the
years
bigger
of
thing
residency.
is like you can't make as much as another doctor, right? Because like some hospitals wouldn't hire you, and they definitely wouldn't pay you what a doctor makes.
Interesting.
But yeah, and I think a lot of like medical schools and law schools, like part of it is you
That's
take the
all
bar.
your networking, right?
Yeah.
Too is the other thing where it's like, well, yeah, your medical school is going to connect. They're going to help you take the test. They're going to prepare you for the test, and then they're going to help you get your residency and your internship and, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So anyway, he becomes a fake lawyer. That's when the jig's kind of up. And that was actually one of my favorite, like, him bluffing through a situation moment is where he watches TV to see how he should be a lawyer.
Yeah.
And then he shows up to court and does basically the same spiel that he saw on TV, and the judge is like, yeah, we're in pretrial, you idiot. Get out of here.
Like, there's no defendant. There's
no jury. There's no defendant. Yeah, no.
It's just me.
It's just me. I did like that.
I like when he gets called in because he's like the night ER person.
Yeah.
And so they never need him because there's doctors on call there. So he's just like the administrative doctor. He's the doctor the rest of them are operating under.
Right. Like an attending physician at a teaching hospital or whatever. Or he's orchestra,
They have to call him, which one thing they make a big deal about, like, oh, he has to go. He shows up. There's 2 other doctors standing there,
Yeah.
so he didn't need to go. And then it's just, do you concur?
Oh my! He's
he
like,
broke his
there
leg.
was a bicycle accident where he has a terrible fracture, and he's like, "Do you concur, doctor?" Like that's all. He's like about to throw up from seeing all the blood. He's like, "What? It was a bicycle." He's like, "Do you concur?" And then the doctor's like, "Why didn't I concur?"
Yeah, he's like hanging his head, like so stupid.
So, we get to the point where the jig is up, right? He's left Amy Adams. He's gone out the window. He's like, meet me in Miami airport in 2 days, whatever. Take this money, take a cab, whatever. We'll leave. So his whole thing to get through the airport is like, I didn't know is what his plan was. Here's what the movie tells us. He goes to an auditorium full of high school students. High school students? College students? High school students.
Probably.
And he's like, hey, we've got this great Pan American Airlines. We're going to do a program. You're going to get to travel on the jet and learn what it's like to be a stewardess and blah, blah, blah. Everyone's excited about it. Gets all these women to do it. And my first thought was, oh, so he's just starting a cult. Oh, no. He's just kidnapping 8 high school girls. Turns out it was all just a diversion so they would walk through the airport and they would kind of be his shields so no one would notice him.
Yeah.
I'm just saying from where I'm sitting, I was like, he's starting a cult. He's kidnapping people.
Yeah. I mean, it could have gone that way.
I think
It's a very different.
it would have been much more of a Cody Corner movie if it had gone that route. So I have an addition of what does my note mean?
Oh,
And are you ready? My question is, are you ready to play?
it's my favorite game, yes. Now, Cody, I've seen this movie at least 20 times. So if I can't decipher this, I think we watch different movies.
Ready? 3 words. 1 question. Right now. Why the Cobels? Cobels. Cables. Not cables.
What? What?
This is after the Lutheran thing and before the kidnapping 8 girls to start a cult thing.
Why the
Why?
labels? Why does he tear the labels off stuff?
Why does he tear the labels off stuff? You're so good at this game.
I think that was just like that's like a fidget he would do. So that's something where
There's a tell, right?
yeah,
Like
because they talk about in his book. I'm pretty sure references like that's how the FBI would know he's been somewhere. If like the labels pulled off a wine bottle at the fancy restaurant.
interesting.
Yeah, because he'd pull them off and put them in like in his wallet or something. That was just like
What an interesting tick.
fidget.
Oh, because they established that when he hands his wallet to Tom Hanks, back when he almost gets caught at the Tropicana, he opens the wallet and there's like all these labels in there.
Yeah.
That makes sense now. I was confused by that. So he goes to France. He prints off 8 billion more checks than anyone ever should. Gets caught. He's not actually in France. He's in Quebec City.
Yeah.
And gets caught. And then it turns out he knows a lot about financial crimes because that's what he did. And then becomes a consultant for the FBI. And it's like a fun little,
By
Fun.
this movie, how long would you say he spent in prison after he was caught?
in France?
From the time he was caught to back in the States and working for the FBI.
And working?
Yeah.
I would say he was in France for 2 years and probably like 6 months before he started working for the FBI.
So I think it was like 4 years and some change because it said less than 5 years of his sentence before he started working for the FBI.
Interesting. Wow.
So I don't know how much of that was in France, but I felt like he served much less time in prison than because he had long hair when the FBI agent showed up to the printing press.
He did?
Yeah.
Oh, you're probably right.
So I don't think he was in
French prison that long before he's
Yeah.
extradited?
because they were trying. He said that was like the whole thing was that their like deal was he would go in, like he would take them to him if he could arrest him and then extradite him, basically. So
Yeah.
it's like they got to arrest him, but he got to be the one to actually put the cuffs on him, and then they got extradited back to the U.S. Here's the thing. French, I don't know how they feel about it. I know the U.S. never gives them people, and they always take criminals from the French police. Because the French is like, I know France is like the center of Interpol. They're like the ones that run it the most. So it makes it almost sound like they made it out like, oh, French prison's a nightmare. When I'm like, do they send all their criminals to the U.S. because U.S. prison's a nightmare? And it's the punishment.
Right.
All the international criminals are like, well, the U.S. has got the worst prisons, so send them over there.
Sure, yeah.
Send them to, I don't know, where were they in Prison Break?
I don't know.
The second seat, Mexico or something.
Oh, yeah, sure.
It's one of those prisons where they just close the doors and they're like,
Make a society now.
yeah, they're like, we're not going in there.
Playground rules. It's like, I don't know. Okay. So, yeah, that's nice. He gets to work for the FBI. He gets to have kids and be free and then write a book and bump into Tyler, but he never knew it. So, here's my question to you. Christopher Walken, his performance.
Yeah.
Oscar worthy, not Oscar worthy.
Okay, here's the thing. I would say Oscar nod worthy, but I need to know who he's going up against.
He did get an Oscar nod for his performance. He's the only actor in this movie to get an Oscar nod for their performance, which I thought was interesting. Chris Cooper from the movie Adaptation, Ed Harris from The Hours, Paul Newman from Road to Perdition, John C. Reilly from Chicago, and Christopher Walken, Catch Me If You Can.
Now, who won?
Chris Cooper from Adaptation, which I don't even know that movie.
I don't even know who Chris Cooper is, so there you go.
You're about to. I always find it interesting to see like what class of movies, and I guess it was a weird time for movies, right? If I'm 10 years old, I'm not gonna have a good. Oh, Chris Cooper, he's the guy with the beady eyes and the face, and we all know and love him from the movie Adaptation, American Beauty, Little Women, the 2019 TV show. Nope, 2019 movie, and I don't know, Cars 3, he's Smokey. I don't know how to help you. So,
I think that says all you need right there. Is Cars 3 is Smokey. What's Christopher Walken known as?
Best picture that year was Chicago, up against Gangs of New York, The Hours, Lord of the Rings, Two Towers, and The Pianist.
Oh,
Back when they only had 5 nominees for Best Picture.
here's the thing.
Life was so much simpler.
I think 2 people in the movie deserve the Oscar nod, at least, right?
Talk to me.
Christopher Walken,
Okay.
because he's a treasure,
He is.
and Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks did a good job.
I think if it was a thin year for leading roles,
Maybe Leo.
maybe Leo,
Yeah.
but probably not.
Certainly not better than
Tell me, hit me with it.
Adrian Brody in The Pianist, or Nicolas Cage in Adaptation, which is that a Charlie Kaufman? Okay, we're gonna have to watch this movie. Michael Caine in The Quiet American, Daniel Day-Lewis in Gangs of New York. That might should have won, and Jack Nicholson in About Schmidt.
Mm-hmm.
All right, adaption's going on my watch list. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
I am very curious.
Can I be really honest with you right now?
Got Nicolas Cage and Meryl Streep. What else do you want?
When you said, what's the name of the movie you're looking at right now?
Adaption.
I thought you were saying he was nominated for a leading role in an adaptation, and you never said what it was adapted
And yeah,
from.
a movie that was adapted. We all know it. I don't need to say it.
Yeah.
It's an adapted film.
And I was like, well, all right, I guess so he was in some movie.
All right. So, anyway, yeah. I mean, I thought Christopher Walken was good. I don't know. Some of these Oscar nods, I'm not so sure about. You're telling me there aren't... I don't know. You're telling me that's a top 5 supporting actor performance from that year?
I think so.
It was good.
I think he did a really good job.
Top 5?
Yeah.
I'd say top 10.
But I mean, like, what makes is it the nailing the character that you're trying to go for? Is it what kind? Because then it's like, because he obviously nailed it.
He did nail it. It was pretty good. He was good.
Yeah. Is a good character, is well written. He's a good boy. And he did it. He did it.
He did do it. Okay.
He became the FBI agent.
Fun fact. I just have a couple fun facts for you. I've already shared many of them. All the roads in this movie were wet. Even though it's in like LA and, Louisiana and stuff.
Yeah.
Here's why. Many cinematographers prefer the look of a wet road when shot on film. You gotta hose those boys down. Make it look tight, professional, sleek.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Also, this project was first pitched in 1981 with Dustin Hoffman as Frank Abagnale. It took 20 years to finally shuffle around Hollywood and get made. So, that's something. My final fun fact. This is perhaps my favorite, aside from me being in Quebec City and, having been there.
Yeah.
This is probably the best one. In real life, Frank Abagnale was not arrested in dramatic fashion while printing money and being crazy by Tom Hanks. In fact, he was recognized at a grocery store from his wanted poster. Somebody saw the wanted poster of him. He was buying groceries, and they were like, that's the guy.
I remember I remember it being like they're like, see, they work. The wanted posters work.
Seinfeld always makes fun of that too. He's got that. He's like, what are you gonna do? You're in line at the bank, at the postal office. You see the poster. Look behind me. Look forward. If that's not the guy, that's all I'm gonna do. But it worked. It worked on Frank Abagnale. So there you go.
Now, do you think it would have won the Oscar for Best Picture if that had been how he got arrested? If instead of a crazed bean rant, it would have been just
chasing him around the printing press.
Yeah.
It's just he's just comparing two kinds of French cheese and is like, which kind of unpasteurized cheese would I like today? Yeah, I mean, probably would have beat out Chicago, The Pianist, Adaption, all those.
Yeah.
I tried to watch The Pianist. Is rough. It was one of those movies. The beginning is just like Nazi Germany, or are they in Poland? Nazi occupation. We're Polish. We're Jewish. We're slowly losing everything. I was like, I see where this is going. This has been a very depressing 20 minutes, and I'm not in for the next 2 hours, so I'm out. I knew it was one of those things you're like, we all know where this is headed. Can we just cut to the depressing part? Like, It's not even like Schindler's List where you're like, oh, you know what? Liam Neeson, has a heart of gold. It's like, nope. It's just, so I didn't watch it.
It's just a slow descent.
And it's Roman Polanski, who we all know is problematic now. So maybe I shouldn't have even watched in the first. Maybe that's what I get.
Yeah.
for watching a Roman Polanski movie.
He's the pedophile.
Because he did
right?
something bad. And I don't know what it is, but I know that it was bad enough that people say you shouldn't watch his movies.
Yeah.
Search Roman Polanski teeth. Go. Do it.
Teeth. There you go.
I'm so excited for your, like, Google News feed now that you've searched for
He was in a movie called Teeth Smile in 1957. Does that help you out? Does that help?
Yeah.
He is Polish.
Yeah.
He's a fugitive.
Okay. But what did he do wrong?
He's unlawful intercourse with a minor.
Ooh.
That's a big one.
That's a big one.
That's one of the bad ones.
That's one they don't really let you off for very easily.
Yeah.
Well, Tyler, you've seen this movie several times. You're all about it. You love it. You're upset that White Collar ripped it off. Would you recommend this movie?
I mean, I'm not upset. I'm just saying. I didn't realize
Disappointed.
that it's so much based on.
Yeah, yeah.
I like the movie. I recommend it. I think it's a good one.
I mean, I didn't like the movie. It didn't scratch the itch I needed. It wasn't quite as good as I wanted, but it was a good movie, and it is pretty accessible. It's a Steven Spielberg, Tom Hanks joint, rated PG-13 with Leonardo DiCaprio. Like, what? It's pretty broad and pretty accessible, I would say. So
Here's the thing. Remake it. Give it to you-know-who. The guy.
yeah.
The guy that I want to give every kind of heist movie to.
Guy Ritchie?
Guy Ritchie. Yes.
Yeah, Guy Ritchie, who you casting? We already know who it's going to be, but let's just say it on the count of three. Frank Abagnale is going to be played by 1, 2, 3, Timothy Chalamet.
It's like
Come
I was
on.
gonna be like the blonde guy from King Arthur, because he's like
You can't get a 40-year-old to play a 17-year-old who's supposed to look 28.
how dare you, sir? Hannah Montana taught me one thing, and that's that you can get a 35-year-old to play any age. All right.
Oh, man. I told you I had a friend. We used to make movies together, and he worked in Hollywood for a bit. He was like, oh, yeah, you would get all the roles in Disney Channel movies. You just grow your hair out a little bit. You'd be the background actor in every High School Musical ever. That's what he told me.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You're gonna have to shave your beard though.
Yeah.
That's
The beard is a problem.
Or you can go like I remember there's one movie my wife was watching. I think they were in high school, and it's like, oh, high schoolers, kids, and I was like, that man has a full beard. She's like, well, he's probably a teacher. I'm like, they made it very clear there were no teachers in this
He's got
room.
like a backpack on.
Yeah. Just maybe. So I showed her the picture of what's the guy where he's like, hello, fellow kids. Like with
From
his-
30 Rock, it's Steve Buscemi.
Yeah.
He's got like a sideways hat and a skateboard, and he's like 50 years old. Oh, so good. All right. It's a good movie. You know, it's on Netflix probably for a little bit, or maybe I might be gone by the end of the month. So chase it down. Catch it if you can. Oh, there it is. There it is.
I mean, that's it, really.
That's it.
That's
You
the whole
can
thing, yeah.
you can follow. Hold on. You can share us with your friends wherever podcasts are found.
Oh yeah,
At Opinion Havers.
we're on everything now. I've made
On-
sure.
If you look on Apple Podcasts, we're on the O list of TV and film review podcasts.
You sent me that list. I thought you were on like the popular podcast page or something, and I'm like, you're just on the O.
I'm just on the O's. I was just surprised we were on the first page of O's. I didn't think we'd be in there. I thought there'd be way more. I thought we'd be pushed out by so many other podcasts.
Isn't it alphabetical? Is it not alphabetical?
I don't know. Was it? I think it was. I just thought there'd be more podcasts with the name O that do TV and film. Maybe there's not as many podcasts as we thought there were. All right?
We're the 75th most popular O podcast in the TV
yeah.
and film.
That's what
category.
I'm saying.
Yeah, it's a pretty big deal.
You can follow us on all the social medias. Unlike our current president, we are not banned anywhere. On Twitter, at Opinion Havers. On Facebook, at Opinion Havers. So, I'm there. You can yell at me. You can ask for movie requests. And we will do them if you're not, a weirdo about it. So, hit us up. And until next time, watch movies.
And have opinions. What do you think the toy airplane budget was for this film?
Oh my goodness. It was outrageous. No, I think it was the same toy airplane, and then they just digitally replicated it
Yeah.
50 times.
It's hand drawn on the film.
Yeah.